What's up, everybody? It's your boy AT2. Now, originally, we were talking about how Milagro seemed like she was over Tory, she was over everything going on, but she's still continuing to talk about this whole Tory and Megan situation. I thought she was done, but obviously, she was just in her feelings. So, we're going to talk about all that. But first, let's go ahead and play the intro. Please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. What's up, everybody? It's your boy AT2, as you already know, and welcome to a brand new episode of Talk the Real Deal with AT2. So, like I said, Milagro, her issue with Tory, it seemed like it was just, she was envious that everybody else was getting the attention off of this whole free Tory movement when she's been working on this since day one. Now, here's the thing. You literally put all your faith, you put all your eggs in this basket for this one person, and now you're left high and dry with this lawsuit with Megan. Because do we think Megan's going to drop this lawsuit? No. And especially after you continue to talk about her, which we're going to play that right now, because as you guys know, Megan put out a statement. Because again, this seems to always come up every 6 months about there's some kind of new evidence proving that Tory is innocent. Like, this isn't the first time that they tried. It seemed like they're just throwing things out there to see if something will come about it, right? Honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not, because I got in trouble when I said I didn't care. It's not like I don't care because someone did get hurt. It was just that, we keep seeing this, oh yeah, they got all the evidence, they got this. Okay, well, that needs to be handled in the court system. They're trying to get the public's attention to try to rally, to do a rally cry to like get this man out of jail. But really, it got to go through the courts. That's it. What's up, V? How you doing? All right, so let's go ahead and play this. And shout out to Karmic, what is his name? Karmic Resolution. Thank you. Shout out to you. All right, let's go ahead and play this. I know y'all tired of me. Y'all like, shut up. Oh, as well, stay tuned because I'm going to reveal who actually is the celebrity behind the movement to push Tory and get him free. What celebrity is actually doing the work behind the scenes?
Everybody and their mama have come forward. Multiple people from the music industry. Now we have a congresswoman saying, hey, a change needs to be made. Megan comes out and makes a statement, and I think that she made a mistake. I think that she looks crazy, and I think that she looks pressed. Her attorney already gave a statement. And if
this was a day ago, by the way, at least when this was posted.
That was something that stood and it was strong enough to stand on his own, it wouldn't need any help. You understand what I'm saying to you? So to me, it shows and is a reflection of the cracking going on with her. You are so bothered by what is going on that you felt like you had to say something about a case that you continue to make a joke about. She's rapping about locking people up and throwing away the key. So why do you give a damn about anybody in the public? If the court found him guilty and that stands and that means so much, and that is the cornerstone of your argument, you don't need to say nothing else. It's my opinion. Because that is your truth, right? And that's enough for you. So what could bother you if the courts did enough? Okay, that's my train of thought. So,
but the same could be asked, what is Milagro's obsession with Megan? The same could be asked.
Today, I think that shit got way too loud. Because outside of all the rappers and everybody and their mama saying something in the press conference and Fox News running it, an actual active congresswoman got up and said, hey, she tweeted, there's an injustice that's taking.
We're going to talk about Anna Paulina Luna. We're going to talk about her because she did an interview where she told who was the celebrity behind her trying to push for this whole free Tory bullshit, right?
In place. and we need to let this man go. He needs to be pardoned. And I believe that this has sent her over the edge. One can only speculate based on the follow up. So, what did Megan go do? She goes on TikTok, not Instagram, not Twitter. She goes on TikTok and she posts a video of a note, basically. So you know how you can make a picture, a video? Okay. She simply says, "At what point are y'all gonna stop making me have to relive being shot by Tory? At what point are Tory and y'all fans gonna stop lying? Like, how much is the check to keep harassing me? Why is this happening every day? One minute, him and y'all said that I was never shot. Now y'all letting him play in y'all face again and say that I was shot, but it wasn't him? Oh, okay."
Right. And Megan is right for this too. Because remember, at first it was like Megan never got shot, right? Then they said, oh, well, she stepped on glass. I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, Couture Bay, there was like this video online like 6 months ago where they said, see, this is the glass that Megan stepped on. See, we proved that she actually stepped on glass. Then it went to Kelsey shot her. Before this time, it was already said that Kelsey was the one who did it. Then it was said that both of them, Megan and Kelsey, were fighting over the gun, and then it went off. Then it was said that Megan and Kelsey were fighting over the gun, and then Tory jumped in, and then the gun went off, and then that's how Megan got hurt. Like there was hella different variations of this whole story to where, well, Tory was the one trying to stop them from fighting or whatnot. Here's the thing: if Tory didn't plead his case, and mind you, his lawyers was just trying to prove that he did not pop off the GUN. They really didn't say who it was because it's all like, okay, you can go with the, well, we don't know who it was. It just went off. You can go with that. But usually you have some kind of alibi or you have some kind, I don't want to say alibi, that's an excuse, but you have some reasoning to how the gun went off. You can't just say like, oh, well, we don't know, but it wasn't Tory. Okay, well, if it wasn't him, who was it? You had to put it on somebody. I think the lawyers that Tory had knew that it wasn't going to make any sense because they already had the confession from Kelsey. Then, when Sean Kelly, the neighbor who testified, originally he stated that he thought it came from the girls. And then he testified that, well, I did see a flash from one of the girls, but I also seen a flash from two males. So it already debunked, like, okay, well, no, he didn't have possession of it or he didn't shoot it off. Now, maybe he wasn't trying to shoot at Megan, but he shot the gun at the end of the day. All right, let's continue.
I'm sick of this shit. Leave me the fuck alone. He ain't dare get on that stand and deny he shot me, and that was his choice because he knows he did that shit. I don't give a fuck about a blog or a bot. Why in the fuck would me,
Not a
Megan the
blog or a bot.
Stallion, have to lie on this motherfucker about shooting me? How y'all mad at the person that got shot? Facts are facts. He did it. It was proven in court. Fuck the hate campaign on this internet. Tory, you shot me. Ain't no new fucking evidence. Y'all been saying the same shit for years. Tory, please leave me alone. You a fucking demon. I'm off this silly ass internet shit. Bye. Once again, when you don't like voices getting too loud, you start accusing people of things. So let me get this right. Now y'all are all being accused of what I got accused of.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you you would. I told you that it could be you. Because if you got on the internet and you had an opinion that someone called themselves not liking, they could challenge you as well. And what did
Right. She's proven Megan's point. She's proven it. You're still talking about this girl. You're still bringing her up. And you're still putting out misinformation to try to confuse people. That's really the big thing. It's one thing you want to put out the facts, like as far as, okay, Megan and Kelsey, their information is kind of wonky, the stuff that they're saying, and well, not even Megan. Megan just lied about her and Tori sleeping with each other. They used that clip from Gayle King to like try to prove that, okay, well, this proves that Megan's a liar. She didn't want to. Who wants to admit that they slept with some, like, usually a lot of people are more conservative and they don't share like, oh, I slept with this person or I slept with that person, right? But at the end of the day, her pussy wasn't on trial. And I'm sorry to be so vulgar, but that's the truth. Y'all trying to put her ussy on trial, and that wasn't on trial at all. Tory was on trial. And again, it wasn't Megan who pressed charges or anything like that. The state picked this up. The state picked it up. But it's funny how, and I forgot who said it last time, it's funny how everybody is mad at Megan, but shouldn't you be mad at Kelsey because she was the one first who told, originally told the police that it was Tory who shot her, right? And then when she got on the stand, she didn't say like, "Hey, I want to clarify and take back what I said." Like she said she had amnesia and she couldn't really remember what happened. She was trying to use that whole, "Oh, I don't really know what happened" thing. I think her and Tory had spoke with each other. It was all like, "Okay, I'm not going to say your name, and then when you get on that stand to testify, you say you forgot everything because you already got immunity." They thought that was going to work in their favor, and it didn't. What's up, Demetria? I wouldn't admit I slept. Exactly. And shout out to everybody coming in the room. Okay, let's go ahead and continue.
Did she just turn around and do? She just turned around and accused the whole public, anybody that is a fan of they saw that it stood for him. You either are getting paid. She said, "How much are you getting paid to harass me?" She just accused y'all of literally being in cahoots with Tory Lanez. True or false? True. Okay. Okay. Like, excuse me? And then what did she say? She said, all of this was proven in a court of law. It ain't no new evidence. Y'all been saying the same thing. I'm sorry. We've never heard of Kelsey's bodyguard. Have you? Have you heard these things before? Is that why it's the same thing for you? I've never.
And again, them taking his testimony or his confession seriously, they're going to laugh at that. Because literally, this is not the driver who was in the car the night of what went down, right? And that's another thing. Why didn't the driver, Joaquin Smith, why didn't he testify? Jaquan, was it Joaquin or is it Jaquan? I think Jaquan Smith. Why didn't he testify? Why did he go ghost? Nobody talks about that. This driver is the driver who drove Kelsey to the court, to court the day when the trial was going on. That's who this bodyguard is. This is not the bodyguard who was in the car during the shooting. This is the bodyguard. This is her driver. I'm sorry, her driver that took her to the trial to go testify. This who overheard the confession in the car. And mind you, Tory has been in jail for 2 years now, and now the driver is coming forward and saying something. And they're just going to trust his word. And then the other thing about, oh, well, his DNA was not on the gun. All this other stuff about, yeah, they did DNA. Okay, well, send that information over. Not send that information over to me. I'm talking about send the information over to the court, the people that actually matter. Why has all your appeals been denied beforehand? Something tells me that they're trying to get the trust of the public to do this whole outcry and be like, free Tory, free Tory. But again, this has been proven in court. This is there's nothing more to say, you know? It's like, let it go. And it's funny because Milagro, it seemed like she was waking up. Remember when she was like, well, your story to Jason was that you took the rap because you didn't want to see two black women in jail. You didn't want Kelsey to be taken away from her mom. Not her mom. Kelsey to be taken away from her child, blah, blah, blah. But you're being taken away from your child. But on top of that, you're saying that you're taking the rap. So if you're taking the rap for it, even though you didn't do it, then why are you crying? Why are you complaining? And Milagro even said this. So I don't understand why she's going back on her words and now trying, because Megan said something, now she all of a sudden coming out and having to defend Tory. Crazy. So I wanted to go ahead and pull up the rep Luna, right? Now, what's interesting about this lady is she's from Florida. This is the same woman who voted against voted against a bill that would have gave funds to FEMA. And y'all know last year they just had that hurricane and everything like that. She voted against it. So this is somebody who doesn't even care about her state, but she's worried about this case that happened in California. So you got to remember, like, these MAGA nuts, they're fucking crazy and they don't know what they're talking about, because she actually exposes herself during this interview. Let's watch it.
Representative APL, it's good to have you.
Thanks, Chris. Happy to be back on. And thanks for taking a look at this case.
No, listen, you tell me to take a look at it, I'll look at it. But why did you look at it? I mean, this isn't your jurisdiction. I don't know you to have any connection to any of these people.
Thank you.
Yeah, so as you know, we are on oversight and accountability. And so this case was actually initially flagged for me by Amber Rose. And the reason why I took particular interest in it is because of the fact that they actually had evidence that they presented to me in my office that actually disproved.
There we go. Amber Rose. Amber Rose was the one who brought this up. Now, I forgot that Amber Rose was like Team Tory, but she's the one who sent it over to her.
The conviction. So as you stated earlier, that 0.01% of DNA, they actually found 4 people's DNA on that firearm, none of which was Tory's. Not to mention there was 0 fingerprints on the actual magazine. And also too, as you said,
his DNA was not on the magazine and it was inconclusive. And shout out to Stephanie, because Stephanie even said, like, it's hard to have DNA on a gun. Like, it's not that easy, because I don't know the technical term that she said, but it's not that easy to pull DNA from there. So it wouldn't just be like cut and dry, like, yeah, it's his DNA. It's very extensive of them getting DNA from a gun. So again, but they all had gunpowder residue on them.
0.01% chance. I mean, that evidence in itself should pretty much speak for itself. Dance Megan. And so what we're seeing is really there was a case of he said, she said. The evidence wasn't actually respected and properly adhered to actually in the trial. And then they also were doing.
So here's the thing about the ring cam. You telling me that all of a sudden now they have a ring cam? Ring cam can't even go back 4 years like that. At least mine, it can't go back 4 years like that. No. Or are you saying that, oh, they didn't bring that up in the trial, the ring cam? Is that what you're saying? You got all this. Here's the thing. You got all this evidence now. Where was the evidence during the trial?
Doing something that I would find pretty wild and egregious. They're actually submitting his lyrics for rap as evidence to the crime. So look, first and foremost, you have to have a free and fair society. That means we need to respect and uphold the justice system. So I actually reached out today to Gavin Newsom's office, and we are requesting an emergency meeting. We're also working with other Democrats, specifically to the California delegation. But I think that this is something that's pretty...
I didn't even realize that. She said, so she hasn't even seen the evidence, but she's speaking on the evidence. Wow.
Pretty egregious that the way that this was handled, the way that it was. I think that it was largely driven by headlines. And aside from the people involved and the parties involved, obviously I take domestic violence, I take this very seriously, Chris, but I also take very seriously the fact that I do believe, based on the evidence that I've seen, that Tory's innocent. And I think that it sets a really bad message when you have someone of his stature, and also to someone that is as influential as he is, it's being wrongfully incarcerated. And that's exactly why we wanted to use our megaphone for a good reason and help get him his pardon, which I think he'll get.
So Luna, who did it? I mean, she says, and her friends say that he did it. And who else would have done it? And what proof do you have to support that? I get it. Maybe they didn't make the case the right way with the weapon, but who did it?
You know, Chris, that's not for me to weigh in, and that's definitely for the judge and the jury. But what I will tell you is, based on the evidence that we have.
So this is what I'm assuming. The gun got up and grew some legs and then shot Megan in her foot. Is that what the gun did? The gun got up, grew some legs, and shot Megan in her foot. To me, again, the argument that, oh, we don't know who shot her, we just know that it wasn't Tory, that was never going to be a strong defense. Never. That was never going to be a strong defense at all. And especially when you had Megan, who was there saying that it was Tory. You have Kelsey, who was there saying it was Tory, even though she had amnesia when she took the stand. You're having these people say it was you, but you're going to say, oh, well, I don't know who it was, but it wasn't me. That argument doesn't work. That sounds stupid. It has to be somebody, and they're saying it was you, and you're saying you don't know. Okay, well, it was you.
The evidence that we have says that he wasn't the guy. And so I do think that Gavin Newsom has some great attorneys that will look at this. But I'd also like to point out that the prosecutor specifically on this case that initially brought the charges is a very interesting prosecutor. Look into who ran him. And at the end of the day, I think Hollywood, as you know, Chris, and politics does overlap. And there's a lot of interesting stuff that happened there. So look at the evidence for yourself. We've posted it for the entire world to see, to determine for themselves. And I know that Tory's legal team actually has an incredible case. And so we are calling on Gavin Newsom to issue that pardon immediately. And also remember, he was almost killed in jail. I actually talked to him today on the phone, and he said that.
So she gave another interview. Who did she get the interview with? Miss Diva, who was it? I'll look for it right now. But yesterday she said it was Glass, and now today, see how they be changing. And here's the thing, too. You're changing your story again. Again, you're changing your story? Wow. I'll go ahead and let it finish continuing, but Miss Diva, I want to know who it was.
That once he does get out, once he does get this pardon, which I do feel confident that he'll be getting, he's going to work extensively in prison reform, because this should never happen to anyone.
Anna Paulina Luna, this is a really interesting one. I've never covered a situation like this before, but I appreciate you using your platform, and let the legal team know. We'll be reaching out if they want to come on to make the case. I'm happy to hear it, and we'll check in with the governor's office as well. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah.
Oh,
of course, and Chris too. If you want, we can probably connect you with his dad as well. I think it's important for people to know all the facts.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'll check in with you right after the show. Thank you very much.
Chris Cuomo really had a fall from grace. After he got fired from CNN, he has not been the same. It's sad. Sad. Where you have Don Lemon. Don Lemon has his own thing on YouTube, and Don Lemon's show is actually pretty good. Chris Cuomo, he just went down the deep end. Let me see if I can find. I'm just trying to see if I can find another interview to see if she got tripped up on her words. I know TMZ did something, but if I play TMZ, they're going to strike me. That's the only thing. And again, she's a Florida rep, and she's trying to convince Gavin Newsom to worry about your people in your state, lady. Like, what are you doing? That's why these people are jokes. There's an injustice for Tory, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but Tory also has the money and the resources to fight. Like, this ain't the same. This isn't like me or you getting railroaded by the justice system. Like, where we don't have the funds or the money to fight. Literally, Tory had the opportunity to defend himself. He had the opportunity with the lawyers. I mean, he's still getting funding. I learned from Milagro that Tory got $250K from Chris Brown. Now, if his friends aren't helping him get the best of the best, then what more do you want to say? And again, if you're not willing to say it was Kelsey as far as who did it, yeah. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for you. As soon Listen, as soon as you point at me and say that I did it, and I believe I didn't do it, I'm pointing it back at you, or I'm gonna point at the person who did do it. I'm not gonna say, well, it wasn't me, but I'm not gonna say who it is. When they're already accusing that you were the one who did it. I wonder if there's like a similar case to this where a person's being blamed for a shooting, but they said they didn't do it, but they're not saying who did it. Now, I know there's different true crime situations where they find out later through DNA someone didn't do it, but this is not that situation. No. Because we actually have the person who is alive who's saying, like, hey, actually, there is an example, the Central Park Five. They were accused and then came out later that they didn't do it. But they always said they didn't, but they were pressured into admitting to confessing that they did, which was a horrible situation. But that's not one of these injustices. Those men, they couldn't fight for themselves. And they weren't men. They were literally teenagers, young boys at the time, right? But again, somebody like Tory with the resources, with the money, he should have the best of the best. And his fans are still sending money. Yeah. And I think another thing with Milagro, how, Megan mentions that she's being paid for and stuff like that. Like when you see me on here, right? This video has ads on it. Milagro doesn't have a platform where she's getting like AdSense or ad value. So the way Milagro is getting her money from donations, so people question like, okay, well, if you're not monetized on these platforms, how are you getting your money? You're getting donations. Who are you getting donations from? And so this is why it looks like Milagro is doing more than are getting her information from a certain source or a certain somebody, or she's being paid to say these things, because if she doesn't say these things, then she's not going to get any money. So this is where Megan's argument is coming. Now, whether or not Megan can prove it in court or not, we don't know. However, one thing that we can say is that, yeah, she does harass Megan. Yes, she did put out misinformation, like one being that they couldn't find the gun. Remember, Milagro was saying they couldn't find it. And it wasn't that they couldn't find it. It just wasn't presented in court. But the LAPD did have custody of the gun. Remember? What's up, Stephanie? I was just talking about you. Kelsey is slow. I would be defending. Yeah. And Kelsey's not that smart either. But again, she ain't the one in jail. She chilling. Kelsey living her life. Megan trying to live her life. But again, she's always reminded of this bullshit. And I do feel bad because I feel like Megan's career has been stifled because of this. Like, even though she was the victim in this case, I feel like the reason why her career, and I don't want to say her career is, Katorbe, help me with my words. I don't want to say her career is over, but as far as like the music and stuff like that, I feel like it has really stifled that with the bad contract that she had with Carl Crawford, and it's just been a lot. And I feel like this case has really hurt her as well too. And not to say that Megan isn't a superstar and she's not a star, but I do feel like there might be people in the industry that gatekeeping because she opened her mouth and she said something. When it was all like, you should have shut it up, you shouldn't have said nothing. But again, the state brought this case. No matter how much y'all hate Megan, at the end of the day, the state brought this case on Tory, not Megan. No, I wasn't cussing you out. No, I was actually saying thank you for explaining about it's not easy to get DNA off of the gun. And that's why it came back inconclusive. So I was thanking you for your information. But anyway, you guys, that's the end of this. I just kind of wanted to bring this to you and let y'all know, like, yeah, Amber Rose is also behind this too. So it's gaining more traction in the political realm as far as MAGA because of this. But anyway, let me know what you guys think, Replay Crew. I appreciate all y'all being here. I love seeing my members. Thank you, Stephanie, for coming at the end like you always do. Shout out to Couture Bay, everybody. Love y'all, but we out. Deuces, everybody.